I was born in the wrong generation. If you're a millennial or a Gen Z, then you were also born in the wrong generation. There are so many aspects about this generation that I absolutely despise. In 1985, right? When our parents were probably teenagers. I don't know about you guys, but I was born in 2001. Back in those days when our parents were younger and we didn't exist, our parents could just walk to a store, any store, talk to a manager, say, I kind of need a job, I'm kind of broke. And then the manager is going to be like, all right, let's do a quick interview. The interview is most likely going to consist of whether or not you can actually do the job. It's not going to consist of whether or not you can perform, whether or not you can fake smiles. It's not going to be about whether or not you're introverted or extroverted. You don't need to use keywords on your resume to get noticed. No online applications, none of that nonsense. You just walked in, did an interview, and boom, you have a job. People that graduated high school back then, many of them didn't even need college. Obviously back then college was more valuable, but you didn't need college. You could just work a regular job, and that job is probably going to pay a living wage. And if it didn't, well, you could work your way up pretty quickly and then you can make a living wage. And what do we have now? Oh boy, now it's a complete and utter nightmare. You won't even have your application looked at if you don't put specific words on your resume. Even if your resume bullets are basically saying the same thing as the job duties, it doesn't even matter because if you're missing one or two words, the AI is just going to throw it out. You didn't need to put on a performance and fake smiles and do all that nonsense just to get a bare minimum job. In 2025, actually getting a job feels like winning the lottery. It feels like it's basically impossible. And I'm not even just talking about top level jobs. I'm talking about even the most bottom of the barrel jobs. If you want to apply to a retail company, it doesn't even matter which company. Obviously, you're going to have to do it online, and then even if you do it online, they still use AI, so if you don't put specific words on that resume, then once again, your resume won't even get looked at. And even if the job is as simple as just stocking shelves or, being a cashier, it feels like it's basically impossible to even get those jobs. I saw a post on Reddit the other day where this 18-year-old kid basically said he couldn't find a job. He said he just graduated high school, he needed a job, and he applied to 75 jobs. The only thing he got out of that was rejection. I scrolled down to the comment section and it was pretty shocking to me. People were telling him that, oh, that's not enough applications, man. You only applied to 75 jobs in a month? Damn, that's weak. I was like, that's just sad. An 18-year-old back in 1985, 1990, even up to the early 2000s, when they needed a job, they applied to maximum 10? Probably less, to be honest. And now when you graduate high school and you want a job, you have to apply to hundreds just to get a basic job. And then you're the one that's going to be blamed. You're not putting in the work. You're going to be blamed because, oh, you just didn't put enough applications in. Sit in front of your computer for 10 hours a day, make applying to jobs your full-time job, and that's how you get a job. And the funny thing is that these people are not wrong. Absolutely what they're saying is true, right? If you want a job in this society, then you're going to have to basically apply for thousands. And funny enough, that might not even be a guarantee anyways. But getting a job has basically become a numbers game, where you apply, and nothing is guaranteed. You can literally sit there for 10 hours a day for an entire month, apply to jobs, and there's still a very good chance that you won't get a job. So those people saying that it's a numbers game and keep applying, I can't deny that they're actually correct because that's how miserable society is now. But let's not blame the individual. Let's not blame the person that is trying to get a job. Let's not say that he's not working hard enough because that's not true. It's not about hard work. The system is just completely and utterly broken. The fact that you can even apply to 50 jobs and not hear anything back is absurd. That's absolutely soul-crushing. Who wants to spend 10 hours a day applying to jobs just to hear nothing, just to hear crickets? And the saddest part is that it's only going to get worse. And with that being said, I kind of just had a thought of, it just feels like a curse being born in this day and age, In the age of social media, internet, technology, an age where getting a job has become a lottery, an age where you have to compete for bottom of the barrel jobs. It genuinely feels like a curse. Sometimes it kind of makes me spiral because I realize it's going to be like this forever, man. The job market is only going to get worse. Those Gen Xers, those boomers, they had it better, no lie. Like online, I see people talking about, back in 1990, I walked to a store, got an interview, and got hired on the spot. And now when you want to apply for a job like Walmart or Best Buy, you try to go in the store, they're going to tell you to apply online. And then Best Buy, for example, they use HireVue. And I know this because I applied to Best Buy several years ago and they were using HireVue back then. This is just sad. The age of technology and internet, supposedly it was supposed to make things better, but it just feels like it made everything worse because it did. It's just an absolute shit show. Especially several years ago with the 2020 thing. Back then they were all spamming HireVue. If you wanted to get a job, well, you have to talk to a robot. And that's just soul crushing, man. The fact that it became this hard to just simply make a living. Whenever I see kids nowadays, I just feel really bad, man, because they're gonna be living in a world like this where getting the bare minimum, a job, has become this difficult. And then the funniest part is that society still puts the blame on individuals. Oh, look at you, you're 26 living with your parents. You're the loser. But let's ignore the fact that jobs are not paying a living wage. Let's ignore the fact that rent prices are outrageous. Let's ignore the fact that getting a job itself has basically become impossible. Nah, forget all that, you're the loser. And I'm just failing to understand why we can't just collectively agree that none of this is our fault and the system is at fault. I'm tired of people calling other people losers. I'm tired of people calling themselves losers and failures. So many people go online and talk about, oh guys, I'm failing in life, I'm behind. I say this all the time, but no you're not, bro. No you're not. The failure is the system, the rigged system. If you were born back in the 70s and you were a teenager in the 80s and 90s, then you would never have this problem. You could be the exact same person you are today, just put in a different time period, and you'd be thriving. It's the system that's broken. And the reason why I titled this video the way I did is because it's just sad. It makes me feel really sad that I have to be a part of this generation. It's not even just about jobs, it's about so many other aspects as well. Primarily social media. And funny enough, only recently am I starting to realize how problematic social media and phones are. I used to be someone that was, to be honest, chronically online. I used to talk to internet friends, hang out on Discord calls, make friends online, and I'm starting to realize how cringy that was. I no longer like the idea of online friends. I don't like texting. I don't like doing Discord calls. I don't even really care about friends, but if I were to actually try to make friends, it would be, meeting people in person. But that's basically become impossible because everyone's online. You can't even really make friends in person anymore. Back in the day, people went to malls to make friends and to meet girls. They used to just go to parks, public places, and that's just not a thing. Which I find very ironic because they're willing to use apps and Discord. They're willing to use meetup apps, apps that are designed to make friends. So they're willing to meet up with strangers from apps, but when it comes to actually meeting people in person and talking to them in person, no one wants to do it. And something is just so cringy to me about that concept. And it's only a thought I recently had. The idea of meeting people online and talking to them online, and then meeting them in person, and this is how so many friendships are formed. Instagram, Discord, Reddit, meetup websites. It's so superficial to me. The thing about online is that you're always going to have filters, so it's hard to gauge your personality based off of your texts. it's just really difficult. Everyone's putting on a mask, and yeah, they're putting on a mask even if you meet them in person first, but online it's a whole different beast. You're always attempting to put yourself out in the best way possible. You don't want to have any flaws being shown, and I don't want that. I just don't like that concept at all. Why does human interaction nowadays just have to initially be formed through technology, through apps? This is not how people are supposed to connect at all. People that have this sort of outlook, in terms of forming a social circle, they're kind of cooked, to be honest. People that want something real, people that actually want natural connections, not some BS Discord call or Discord server, people like that would not be able to make friends in today's society. If you say, oh, I don't like texting, people are going to see that as a red flag. And it's just very odd. Like, if you take too long to text back, people are going to question that. They're going to be like, what's going on, man? You're ignoring my texts. And they make a big deal out of it when reality is we just have lives. I don't like interacting through text. It's that simple. And I realized that back when I was actually trying to make friends, and I did have friends, even the ones that I knew in person, we interacted more through text and voice calls on Discord, and I'm like, that seems so odd. Why can't we just go in person and hang out? Why are we texting? I just find it very odd how people just don't even see a problem with this. They'd rather just text than actually meet up in person. And nowadays with people, even when you meet up in person and you hang out, I swear a lot of them are just glued to their phones. Like, people will legit just be scrolling social media right in front of you. Scrolling Instagram and TikTok. I'm like, what? Even back when I was a kid, I didn't understand that. You're on your phone talking to other people and doing other things when you're supposed to be interacting. Now I get it if it's important, but most of the time people are just scrolling. And people just take pictures a lot because they always feel the need to post everything to social media. I remember a few years ago when I was in New York City with a friend, and we took this boat that goes from Manhattan to Staten Island. If you don't know what Manhattan is, it's basically what you think of when you imagine New York City. And there's a boat you can use that goes to Staten Island. It's free, it has nice views and all that. And I was just enjoying the moment, and this dude was just taking pictures and videos, and I'm like, come on, man. And I was pretty cool with this dude back then, but I don't talk to him anymore. Even back then, I just didn't like that. I feel like I'm the only one that doesn't want to take pictures. Why do we have to let everyone else know what we're doing? Hey, social media, look what I'm doing. I mean, there's just been so many times where I'm hanging out with someone and they take a picture for social media, and then they post it on their story mid-hangout. To me, that just kind of kills the vibe. Why can't we just enjoy it in the moment, man? It ain't like pictures are ever gonna do anything justice anyways. Like, to me, pictures were always pointless, even in the most beautiful of places, right? Because looking at a picture doesn't do anything for me. I already have a mental image of what the place looked like, and what it felt like. So looking at a picture just does nothing. And it's the same case for everyone else. Everyone else already knows that they already have that mental image. They're just so obsessed with either posting on Instagram or just telling other people what they're doing. And even if they're just having pictures just to have them, I just don't see the point. They might say memories, but once again, you already have that memory in your head. Why do you need to take pictures for that? I mean, a few pictures is fine, but people that take pictures the entire time, it's just annoying to me. It's just ridiculous. And I realized that my mindset is just not suited for this generation. People have asked me, oh, you don't have social media? That's weird. I'm like, weird? How is it weird? It's uncommon, yeah, but it's not weird. To me, the thing that's weird is posting pictures on Instagram for validation and not being able to live in the moment, not being able to just enjoy the present moment. I mean, go to a concert, for example, right? Like, let's take the 80s and 90s, for example, right? If you were going to a concert in the 80s and 90s, there are no phones. Everyone's just enjoying the music, talking to each other, vibing. That's how a concert should be. Now, if you go to a concert, what do you see? Everyone's holding out their phones to record. And if you're someone that's not recording, they're going to be like, wait, why are you not recording? Like, they're going to be like, don't you want to have these memories? I'm like, you don't need to record a video to remember this. And some of these people would even just post it on their story right then and there. And then they'd react to people liking and commenting on their story. It's just absolutely sad what phones have done to humanity. And with the whole dating thing, again, back then people used to go to malls to look for girls. People used to actually be able to approach girls. Now you can't even approach a girl. Now doing the whole cold approach thing where you just go up to a woman and just start talking randomly, it doesn't work. Nowadays, the main way to meet a girl is through dating apps. And basically, if you're someone that doesn't like the concept of texting and social media and apps, you're pretty much cooked in the dating game, to be honest. Because that's what most girls are into. That's what most dudes are into. Now, yeah, you can meet people other ways, but it's very unlikely unless you're in school. Most people have to use dating apps because there's just simply no option. You're not going to meet a girl in public and just get along and vibe and maybe go on a date. No, that's not a thing. If you even attempt to, you're just going to be seen as weird and ignored. You have to play this dumb game where you're on social media, wasting your time taking the perfect selfie with a perfect angle. Even though in person is a different story, social media kind of exaggerates the way you look sometimes. Like, I've seen people myself from social media where they look really good in pictures, but in person, meh. And the same could be said vice versa. There's so many people that look pretty decent in person, but they don't know how to take a picture. And a girl is gonna be like, oh, his lighting sucks. Oh no, it's just a selfie, I need more than that. Like, you're always expected to have these professional looking pictures, and it's just like, what? Why do we need that? It's just ridiculous. I mean, not that I even care about dating, to be honest. I'm just saying that it's just soul-crushing what life has become. Compared to how simplistic it was back then, right now it's a nightmare. This generation is such a disgrace on just numerous levels, man. And most of it I just blame on social media and technology. You have so many people just living lives online, they're chronically online. And that's just depressing to me. People living on these websites, not going outside, they'd prefer talking to a profile picture and a bunch of text instead of actual people. And I'm gonna just tell you guys straight up, my mental health became so much better when I stopped using social media. When I stopped using the internet to communicate with people, I'm talking about Discord, Reddit, forums, all that stuff, Twitter, Instagram, all of that stuff is just garbage and I'm never going back. YouTube is the only social media I will use. That's it. And that's because I make money on this. That's because I can just talk without interacting. Because clearly I turn my comments off. Like, if I feel the need to get social, I refuse to sit there and text. And that's why I got rid of all my friends and ended things for good. When I realized that most of our interaction is through text and not actually in person, then yeah, that's not really a friendship to me. And one last point I want to make is this. I realized that a lot of friends I made online, we would never even exist to each other in person. Our friendship would have never happened had it not been for the internet, even if we knew each other in person. And here's what I mean by that. So I was once friends with this one Korean chick, right? And yes, I was friends with a girl, not in the friend zone because I'm not really into that. Like, physically, I'm only really attracted to black females. So yeah, I had this casual Korean female as a friend, and we met on Reddit and we would hang out in person sometimes, do activities occasionally, and I knew her for about 2 years until I finally got rid of all my friends. But I realized that this is a friendship that would have never naturally occurred in person. Like, let's be honest, guys, when you see a specific group of people, they're usually friends with people that are similar to them. People that look similar to them. Or even if they don't look similar to them, people that kind of fit similar archetypes. Take a dude like me that's black, 6 foot tall. My interest consists of skateboarding, nature, video games occasionally, making YouTube videos complaining about life. A person like me would naturally never be friends with a Korean chick that's into things like yoga, running, you know, K-pop, stuff like that. I'm not into that stuff. So naturally, if we just met naturally, we would have never been friends. Clearly, I'm just too outside of her bubble. Like, let's say I was talking to her in person, right? Like, let's say I met this person in real life first, right? If I told her what I'm into, what my hobbies are, and she told me the same thing, there would be no friendship formed out of that. None whatsoever. She'd probably think, yeah, that's not really the person I'd be friends with. But because we did it online first, we became friends. And it just kind of shows how fake the internet is. Like, if I were to actually want friends, I would never again do Discord or anything where I have to meet them online. No. Anyways, I feel like I kind of went off topic. But yeah, it is what it is. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I appreciate you guys for watching. Make sure to click a like. Make sure to subscribe, and yeah, peace out.